Explicit bias refers to conscious attitudes and beliefs that people hold about certain groups or individuals. These biases are intentional and often based on stereotypes or personal experiences. Unlike implicit bias, which operates unconsciously, explicit bias is openly expressed through words, actions, or decisions. People with explicit biases may be aware of their prejudices and may even defend them as rational or justified. Explicit bias can appear in various settings, including workplaces, schools, and social interactions, influencing how people treat others based on characteristics such as appearance, background, or beliefs. Because explicit bias is deliberate, it can be easier to identify and address compared to unconscious bias. One major cause of explicit bias is upbringing and socialization. People often develop biased attitudes from their families, communities, or cultural influences, which shape their views over time. Another cause is personal experience, where individuals form strong opinions based on past interactions, whether positive or negative. Media representation also plays a role, as repeated exposure to stereotypes in news, movies, or television can reinforce biased thinking. Additionally, social reinforcement encourages explicit bias when people surround themselves with others who share and validate their views. In some cases, misinformation or a lack of exposure to diverse perspectives can lead people to develop and maintain prejudiced beliefs. Explicit bias can have harmful effects on individuals and society. One major effect is discrimination, where people are treated unfairly in education, employment, or daily interactions because of biased attitudes. It can also contribute to social divisions, as groups with opposing views may struggle to communicate or work together. In professional settings, explicit bias can lead to unequal opportunities, where some individuals are favoured over others based on personal preferences rather than merit. Additionally, biased laws or policies can reinforce unfair treatment on a larger scale. Over time, explicit bias can create an environment of hostility, exclusion, or resentment, making it difficult for communities to build trust and cooperation. Now let's look at some examples. In a hiring process, an employer might reject a qualified candidate because of personal bias against their background or appearance. In schools, teachers may have lower expectations for certain students based on stereotypes, affecting their education and confidence. Another example is seen in customer service, where employees might treat customers differently based on assumptions about their spending habits or behaviour. In personal relationships, explicit bias can cause people to make unfair judgments about new acquaintances, limiting friendships and social connections. These examples highlight how explicit bias can affect everyday situations, often leading to unfair outcomes. One effective way to reduce explicit bias is through education and awareness. When people learn about different cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives, they are more likely to challenge their own prejudices. Another solution is open discussion, where individuals engage in honest conversations about bias and its effects, allowing for personal reflection and change. Policies that promote fairness and accountability, such as anti-discrimination laws, can also help prevent biased decisions in workplaces and institutions. Encouraging diverse interactions, such as working with people from different backgrounds, can reduce stereotypes by providing real-life experiences that challenge assumptions. Ultimately, addressing explicit bias requires both individual effort and systemic changes to create a more inclusive society.